When we think of Australian snakes, there is an image of the hot sun beating down on long dry grass where a sleeping snake lies in, waiting for the unsuspecting walker. The tough dry conditions are perfect for the snake, and when things turn cold, for them it's time for bed. But what if there was a snake that was not only high on the list of most poisonous animals in the world, but it was also found year-round, and worse still, it enjoyed a cold environment, often within city limits?
Well, interesting, each snake has its own sort of ecological niche, and a niche is an area, a habitat which they thrive in. We're here in this beautiful place called Herdsman Lake at the Wildlife Centre. There's just thousands of tiger snakes here.
Herdsman Lake is only minutes from the centre of one of Australia's larger cities, Perth, Western Australia. The thought of thousands of tiger snakes slithering around this metropolitan setting would be enough for most people to pack up and move to Ireland. But to Roger Harris, they are an animal to be enjoyed.
Tiger snakes are unique. There's a wonderful characteristic about tiger snakes. I mean, their colouring is just beautiful. I know some of you might think, how do you think a snake is beautiful? But a tiger snake has beautiful colours on it. That's one of its characteristics. Another characteristic of a tiger snake, it's a cold weather snake. A tiger snake doesn't hibernate. So I love to tell the kids when they come down here, I say, bring your mum down here in the middle of winter, nice warm day, and say, guess what, mum? Tiger snakes don't hibernate.
Not all of us would share Roger's enthusiasm for this snake. After all, the tiger snake is deadly. And although they can be quite docile, it is worth remembering their pedigree.
Tiger snakes are right up there with the deadliest snakes in the world. They have large fangs, a lot of venom, and because they live in these cold areas, it's really not that unusual to find a tiger snake that's just come out in the morning and it's still a little bit too cold to run away from you. And if a snake is cold and it can't run away, it's quite likely to resort to a more aggressive form of defence. So I think a lot of the bites from tiger snakes probably involve snakes in those kind of circumstances. Tiger snakes are elapid snakes. It's the cobra family, the one that dominates Australia. Unlike some of the big vipers in the Americas and Africa that cause a lot of local damage and break down tissue, the elapid venoms actually work on the nerves. The way they kill you is that they stop the nerve leading to your diaphragm, so you stop breathing. Basically, it wipes out nerve function in your body, and you need those nerves to be working if you want to remain a live human being.
After that conclusion, it's surprising that there are any lovers of the tiger snake, and yet it is extremely popular with collectors and snake handlers. Gary Davies has over 20 years of experience in handling, photographing, and studying venomous snakes. He has no fear of snakes, but has a healthy respect for how they live their lives.
Well, contrary to popular belief, tiger snakes and other venomous snakes don't use venom as a defence. It's not a very good defence at all. If you imagine you had to defend yourself against a lion or something, would you like a venom that could kill that animal in 2 hours or so? It's not going to help you in a battle. So venom doesn't work very well as far as a defence because it's slow acting. Their better defence is to run away and hide. And that's why we generally don't see snakes, because they feel us coming, they understand a big predator's coming, they don't want to eat us, and that's all their venom is for, to kill prey. If he stood out and wanted to use venom to defend himself, he probably wouldn't last very long in the wild, because there's an animal that would just kill him in the fight.
Tiger snakes are also very common in Tasmania, where the species takes on a much darker color and a more aggressive attitude. Chris Daly has worked with snakes all his life, removing and relocating countless numbers of tiger snakes from the suburbs of Hobart on the island of Tasmania. But for Chris, getting complacent in his job could have cost him his life.
Got a phone call, somebody had a snake in the backyard, so I did the right thing and went round and tried to catch it. And it was my fault totally from the start. I was in a rush, I had a few things to do, so it was kind of a bit complacency really. I lifted up a rock and the snake was there, which I knew was, and then I went down to pick him up. And he turned around and put a fang in the top of my phone.
An adult tiger snake's fangs can be up to 3.5 millimeters long and produce a moderate flow of highly toxic venom. Chris knew he was in trouble, but with his experience, panic did not set in.
The bite initially is, I'd say, it's pretty much excruciating. Some people say to me, I think I've been bitten by a tiger snake, and I say, if you've been bitten by a tiger snake, you know. We was about 5 minutes away from the local hospital, which was lucky. I could hear the sirens coming. When he bit me, I actually had the fangs still sticking out of my finger. And when I got to the hospital, everybody wanted to come in and have a look at it. Now the after effects is, obviously when you get in, the first thing you need to do is they'll do all your vitals and stuff, make sure you're not having major anaphylactic reaction, which happens with snake bite. The other thing is blood tests to make sure that you have been bitten. Mine was classed as a semi-dry bite, which means I had minute venom in my system. For the first 24 hours I was pretty good, and then they released me from hospital, and then probably the next 2 months or so I had aches and pains, a lot of chest pains. They took me into the hospital a few times thinking I was having a heart attack, but it was just, they said, obviously because my body had something in it it didn't like, and it was just a reaction from that. When I was bitten, I automatically started squeezing. Now, you shouldn't do that, but I did do that, and I was squeezing, and a lot of clear liquid did come out. Whether it was venom or not, I don't know. My opinion, I helped myself a lot, because like I said, I was pretty cool with the snake bite. There's a lot of other people that get a lot worse, have major reactions.
Chris was lucky. Tiger snakes are dangerous, and because they are common, they are easily one of the most cited snakes in Australia. But Chris has a simple philosophy on what is a deadly snake.
The deadliest snake is the one you've just been bitten by.
Tiger snakes are confined to Australia's cooler regions and usually live close to rivers, streams, and swamps. Female tiger snakes are viviparous, which means they give birth to live young and don't lay eggs. Litter sizes have been known to exceed 30. They are carnivores and feed mainly on frogs, lizards, birds, and small mammals. They're a protected species. There's no doubt that the tiger snake earns its place on the list of dangerous snakes in the world, but at least with this species, an encounter will usually be okay.
You'll be walking along, a tiger snake is sunning itself. They're quite a sedentary snake. They don't really move. They're not quick to move away. As you loom over the top of it, it'll flash back to its childhood memories of being a little snake where all the birds and everything want to eat it. So it gets frightened, it'll rear up, it'll flatten its head out, and it's basically saying, back off baby, give me some room. It's all bluff because it wants you to get away. Now if you continue to walk towards it or poke a stick at it or something, what it'll do, it will strike towards you. As soon as it's got space, it'll turn away and whoosh, off, and you'll never see it again. So that's what a defensive snake looks like. I've been here 10 years teaching at Herdsman Lake Wildlife Centre. 7,000 students a year come through here. I see snakes just about every day here. Never had an aggressive snake, and the only thing we teach kids is respect for the snake. We're in their environment.
Like so many Australian snakes, the tiger snake is to be avoided. It is one of the most striking and beautiful snakes in the world, but also one of the deadliest. And there is only one solution to a nasty bite.
Anti-venom is the secret. Without that, you're in big trouble.